Philadelphia. Here are the stars, studs and duds from Boston's 101-98 Game 3 overtime win against Philadelphia that gives the Celtics a commanding 3-0 series lead. Stars Jayson Tatum, the 20-year-old Tatum, I refuse to call him a rookie anymore, showed more growth in Game 3 than any game of his impressive postseason run. Despite early foul trouble, Tatum still delivered a big-time performance, scoring a game-high 24 points on 11 for 17 shooting to go with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Joel Embiid. The numbers posted by Embiid serve as a reminder of just how dominant a player he can be. He led the Sixers with 22 points to go with 19 rebounds before fouling out with 3.0 seconds remaining in overtime. Al Horford, an offensive non-factor for 3 quarters, Horford came alive in the fourth, doing what all great leaders do, show up when the game is on the line. He would finish with 13 points, 11 of which came in the fourth quarter and overtime. Studs Terry Rozier. The next step in Terry Rozier's growth as an above-average playmaker in the NBA is to come up with a big road game. Rozier did just that in Game 3, finishing with 18 points on 7 for 15 shooting with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Jaylen Brown. The right hamstring injury Brown suffered in Game 7 against Milwaukee is clearly getting better. Despite still being on a minutes restriction of about 25 minutes, Brown was a huge plus for Boston off the bench with 16 points on 6 for 12 shooting along with 9 rebounds and 2 blocked shots. Ben Simmons. After scoring just 1 point in Philly's Game 2 loss, Simmons had a solid bounce-back performance with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. J.J. Redick. He has consistently been the Sixers' second-best scorer in this series, and Game 3 was more of the same. Redick had 18 points on 6 for 15 shooting. Duds Philly Arena Ups. It was Boston's third win in as many games against Philadelphia with an epic finish, but it will be remembered by many as the confetti game when the sky, and soon the court, was filled with confetti after Marco Bellinelli's game-tying jumper in which his foot was on the line as time expired in regulation. Players for both teams knew the game was headed to overtime even before the official replay confirmed Bellinelli's long jumper. Robert Covington. Defensively he wasn't very good. And on top of that, he had Ben Simmons' Game 2 line, 1 point scored while missing all 8 of his field goal attempts. Philadelphia. Jayson Tatum was on the bench with early foul trouble, a first for him in this series. When he drove to the basket, he was often hammered to the floor with no call being made. And so he would rise, again, and again, and again, more. Horford steps up when it matters most in Game 3. The 20-year-old Tatum continues to play at a level no one anticipated this quickly, delivering yet another impressive scoring game in Boston's 101-98 overtime win against Philadelphia. Tatum led all scorers with 24 points on 11 for 17 shooting in addition to having a game-high plus-minus of 24. It's the 5th straight playoff game Tatum has scored at least 20 points, showcasing his growth as a big-time scorer that the Sixers have yet to figure out how to slow down. JT has something to prove every single night. Boston's Shane Larkin told NBC Sports Boston. Ever since the first game of the season when Gordon Hayward went down, everybody wrote us off. They're, Celtics, gonna have to get contributions from their young wings, JB, Jaylen Brown, and JT. Larkin added, JT's growing every single game, taking responsibilities, he steps up to the challenge and that's a testament to his mentality. He wants to be the best and he has all the ability to be the best. He just has to continue to work, continue to strive to be the best. The ceiling for that guy is unreal. There's no denying how Boston has given Tatum a lot more free rein offensively to decide what to do. With the ball in his hands, often he'll look to attack a mismatch, or use his matchup to set up a teammate for a scoring opportunity. He has become a major matchup problem for a Sixers team that was among the better teams defensively this past season and boasts one of the better perimeter defenders in Robert Covington. Philadelphia has gone big, small, athletic. Nothing has worked defensively to slow Tatum down, and while one might think that Brad Stevens has done a little extra to prepare Tatum for this moment where he's a go-to scorer for Boston most nights, Stevens has made it clear that he has kept things relatively simple, just call the play and get out of his way. Stevens said, I don't know what else to say. He knows what to do and he has the mentality to do it. It doesn't mean it is always going to go in, it doesn't mean that he's always going to go 11 for 17. More, Blakely. Stars, studs, and duds from Sixers Game 3. One of the few blots on Tatum's strong night was that he missed 3 of his 4 free throw attempts. I can guarantee he isn't going to miss 3 free throws in a row very often. Stevens said before adding, but the way I look at it is the law of averages means he will make a lot in a row. Philadelphia, the Boston Celtics seemed on the cusp of suffering a heartbreaking loss at Philadelphia. Players and coaches weren't sure how this was all going to turn out in the closing moments, so they did the one thing they know works more nights than not. They turned to Horford, more Blakely stars, studs, and duds from Sixers Game 3. Horford has been an absolute rock for Boston in the postseason, and with a chance to put the Sixers in the kind of series ditch no team has climbed fully out of, he took over. Boston has a 3-0 series lead following their 101-98 overtime win against Philadelphia, and while the hands needed to make that happen were plenty, the guiding force behind their ability to withstand all the ups and downs, and there were a lot of downs, for sure, in Game 3 was Horford. He had 13 points, but 11 came in the fourth quarter and overtime, and he got it down at both ends of the floor. It was a fitting sequence for Boston to end the game with a Horford steal that led to a pair of free throws which would prove to be the final points scored in the game. "He's the stabilizer for our groups, there's no question about it," said Celtics head coach Brad Stevens. "When things get going poorly, everybody kind of looks to Al, including the coaches. And when he says something, we all feel better." Celtics rookie Semi Ojeleye acknowledged that there were many who played well in Game 3. Horford's leadership was absolutely vital to them getting the win. "Al, no matter what happens in a game, is always even," Ojeleye told NBC Sports Boston. "You can always look at his face, he's been through it before. That trickles down to everybody on the team, to the rookies, everybody. When you see someone that calm, it gives you that peace of mind." While Horford appreciates the praise from coaches and teammates, he really didn't need to say much in the game's closing moments to keep his teammates focused on the task at hand. "I think we all understood what was at stake," Horford said. "I always try and stay in the moment as much as I can, and I just wanted the guys to stay focused and enjoy these moments. We really just tried to stay focused on each play and go from there." And because of that, the Celtics now find themselves on the cusp of going back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season. Although this run seems a lot more improbable with all the injuries and basketball-related adversity this team has had to play through. That's why, despite their position of tremendous strength in this series, the Celtics are focused on trying to end this series on Monday. Nothing beyond that matters now. It has been that kind of thinking that has been at the forefront of the Celtics this season, something that trickles from the very top of their locker room food chain, and that begins, and sometimes as was the case in Game 3, ends, with Al Horford.